Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Show Me Show podcast for episode 81. I think we counted that out right. Today's episode, a ton of stuff. We got all types of sports going on right now. The sports equinox happened. We're talking about all of them, I think. That's definitely not true, but we're talking about a lot of sports. Mizzou has a huge game this week. We'll talk about that. The soccer team lost. The World Series is over. And then, of course, NFL is still alive and well, as it always is. And yeah, let's get into the show here, Cam. The Rangers win the World Series. The season is finally over. I think you texted me that last night, like finally. I'll admit this was a long season.
I didn't say it like that. I said, I was actually in shock that it was over. I had no idea that it was 3-1.
Because you're not a true seam head.
No. I have been watching MACtion the past 2 nights, and we'll get to something else that I've been later.
Okay. But yeah, the Rangers win in 5 games. I'll be honest, outside of game 1, this series was boring as hell. Game 1 was awesome, obviously, with the late game heroics, Corey Seager, Adolis Garcia with the walk-off home run. But then game 2 was a blowout for the Diamondbacks. Game 3, it was a close game, but it wasn't really like an exciting close game. And then game 4 was a blowout by the 3rd inning. I think it was 10-0 after the 3rd inning. So that was a game I didn't even watch at all. I didn't bother turning it on at all. And then obviously game 5 was actually kind of a good game. Zach Gallen had a no-hitter going through 6 innings, but it didn't matter. The Rangers, it was just really, really weird. Nathan Eovaldi, I think, had a runner in scoring position every single inning, but somehow didn't give up a run. It was one of the most incredible, just like bend but don't break performances I've ever seen. And to do it in Game 5 of the World Series, it's incredible. The Rangers win their first World Series in history. They've been a franchise since 1951. That's a long time. So obviously, like, all the clips are coming out of a lot of these like old lifelong Rangers fans that are just like breaking down in tears because they've been rooting for the Rangers their whole life and they finally win. It's really good to see. It's really wholesome. That's what sports are about, is moments like that. Fans that have gone through so many years of just sadness to finally be on top. It's got to be a great feeling. But yeah, they become the 3rd team in MLB history. Think of how long the MLB's been a league for, how many World Series they've had. Only the 3rd team to win a World Series just 2 years after having 100 losses. One of them was the 1969 Mets, who were nicknamed the Miracle Mets. That's how incredible that was. And then it was some team like in 1917 that doesn't exist anymore. So that's the type of company that they're joining there. And yeah, shout out to them. They built that roster perfectly. Kind of shocked the world. No one saw this coming at the beginning of the year. Some people were maybe like, hey, they could be a little sneaky, but not this. Not win at all. And then shout out the Diamondbacks. They also had an incredible run. I know they didn't win it all. They kind of had a poor performance in the World Series, but I mean, no one expected them to be there either. So
yeah. Luckily for me, I got to watch the most important and most fun game that took place during the series. I watched game 1, which is pretty much all that mattered. Although you said that the other games were kind of boring, which, yeah, they were. But lots of runs, too. Like that one, I think it was game 3. That was the over in runs in the 3rd inning. It was like 9.5, and boom.
Game 3 was 3-1. You're talking about game 4.
Game 4. Got it. So, yeah, good. I was surprised that, they had never won it before. We have quite a few white whales in the NBA and NFL as well that also haven't won it. And it is really cool when those teams finally cross the finish line and get their first one. Brand new stadium too. It's like a brand new era down there. And we were just talking about this, I think, last week. It's like, sometimes every fan base hopes that their team will go all in and put a lot of money on the table to try and buy as many guys as they can, and it worked out. So, got to respect that.
Yeah, it really did. And they get the All-Star game next year. So their fan base is just rocking right now. Hold on a second.
Luke's about to die. Yeah, they got the Cowboys, who are pretty good. They've got Texas, who's pretty good right now. Things are going well in that area. So,
Yeah, I mean, shout out to
Puka,
Mets fans. If you would have told them last year that DeGrom and Scherzer would be holding the trophy at the end of 2023, they probably would have gotten excited. So yeah, kind of painful for them to have to watch that.
okay, I don't think we need to go into that. That is unbelievably sad to bring that up, and
Oh,
for
I mean it is,
any
but
Mets fans, but
you probably don't remember this, but when DeGrom signed with the Rangers in the offseason, they asked him, well, why'd you sign with the Rangers? And he said, well, I've thought it's time to come to a team that's trying to build a World Series contender and it's trying to go all in to win a World Series. And Mets fans had a field day with that. I mean, they just ate him up. Really, the Rangers over the Mets? And here we are, just a few months later, the Rangers win it all, and the Mets, we don't have to talk about where they ended up, but not where the Rangers are. We'll say that.
definitely not.
So just another tough scene for the Mets. But yeah, shout out the Rangers, and luckily for Cam, I think it's the last time we have to lead with baseball until opening day. So, although I
Yeah.
am excited, if you ever get into baseball free agency, this is the one to get into.
A big problem with that is I never bought the new MLB The Show. I always just played the old one because that's where I have that show character that I played the longest with, and so I just keep going with that one because it's fun. And so I have no idea what's going on really in the MLB outside of a few teams, but that's kind of the root of it. If you don't play the video game sometimes and you don't watch the games, you're kind of just screwed. So, all right, should we get into? Should we talk about the games, or how do you want to? Do you want to do other stuff first?
I think we just keep our normal schedule. We usually talk about the games, the NFL games. We had a full slate this week too.
Yeah, it was it was fun, except I accidentally fell asleep during the second half of the 4 o'clock window.
That's fine. It was boring,
But
especially here in this area. No offense to the Chiefs fans, but that game sucked. I would have much rather seen the 49ers Bengals. And me and my dad actually, we illegally streamed it. We stream shared to the TV through an illegal website to get that game on there because we just did not want to watch a sick Patrick Mahomes go against a terrible Broncos team. Yeah, that was a tough scene.
yeah, it was. I think he probably has the big C, if I'm being honest.
Oh,
Yeah, which could be an issue if he still has it when he goes to Germany. No, they'll let him go through, but
I don't think he had the big C. I think they said he had the flu. I think
I bet it's the big C though.
Okay, liberal.
I'm just saying. I bet it was. Otherwise, I feel like they'd say what it was.
They did. They said it was the flu. They said he had the flu. They said Harrison Butker was recovering from the flu and that Patrick Mahomes had it. They said that on the broadcast.
I mean,
That is
it's
different from the big
It's the
C.
same shit though.
It is, but it's different for some reason.
It's really not though.
Oh yeah, but for some reason it is.
All right. Tampa Bay at Buffalo. That was a weird game. Buffalo once again looked kind of slow, and Tampa Bay was able to stay in the game pretty much the whole night. Buffalo always seemed to be up like 2 scores, but Tampa Bay was never out of it. The big thing that happened in this game, Luke, was the Hail Mary at the end, where the only person in the world who knew where the football was Mike Evans, and Chris Godwin. It was like, I don't even know how to explain it. It was like if there was a nuclear bomb landing right next to him, he would have had no idea because he literally had no idea where the football was. And it was a funny visual, but also frustrating because it was literally a perfectly thrown Hail Mary. And on the drive before that, I can't remember who dropped it. Baker Mayfield threw one of the best passes I've ever seen, and it was dropped. So yeah, tough for Baker. Actually played pretty gritty, per usual, but they dropped that game. Buffalo gets a much needed win on Thursday night. LA Rams at Dallas. That was sad. Dallas whooped them. Not a whole lot to say there. I don't know. The Rams, like, they're like a mixture of they don't know how to win games when they're close.
And they get hurt all the time.
They get hurt all the time, and then sometimes their defense just does not appear, and that happens.
Well, so we've seen Dallas do this with countless bad teams all year. They just blow them out.
Which people will use this against Dallas and be like, oh, they only beat up on bad teams. That is the point. When you're a good team, is to like throttle the really bad teams. And they've done it every single time this year. Mm-hmm. So in my eyes, I think Dallas is damn good.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, they haven't been to a conference championship in our lifetime. Don't see that happening this year. I'm sorry.
No, yeah, I think that's a forever meme. But yeah, I mean, they're damn good though. That doesn't mean they're not damn good.
Yeah, we'll make the playoffs.
Yeah,
maybe win a game.
Minnesota at Green Bay.
Disgusting.
We got this one right. It was gross.
This game was actually probably the worst possible scenario ever. I mean, for a Packers fan, you just want to
gouge your eyes out,
blow your brains out every time you see that offense.
Shout out Kurt Cobain.
Wow, another Kirk that made the other side want to blow their brains out. So both fan bases hated this game in multiple ways because the Vikings lost. Literally, Mr. Minnesota, Mr. that. Kirk Cousins to an Achilles tear. It's
awful.
It was horrible. He was, top 3 in MVP voting probably through the midway point of the year, and it just sucks to see him go down this way. Could be how he ends his Minnesota career if they don't resign him.
I feel like a lot of this could be on me too because I don't know. You may have noticed, but I've just been like on Kirk for the past couple of weeks. Like I'm just like, man, I love Kirk. It's been so much fun watching him play, and then he just dies. Like,
yeah, that's definitely you.
I felt pretty bad. I felt sickened when I heard the news. I was actually at Buffalo Wild Wings when it happened, so it was pretty tough. It sucks, and I really am serious. He has been probably outside of Mahomes and Lamar, he's been my favorite quarterback to watch this year. I mean, he is like the last of the old guard, the old guild that is of just true pocket passers that have just been lighting it up this year. So it sucks, and you just wish it didn't happen, not because he was having such a good year and it's been fun to watch, but obviously, he's older. This is a tough injury to come back from, especially when you're older. But I also heard that he has already reached out to like Aaron Rodgers and stuff like that, or Aaron Rodgers reached out to him, and maybe he'll help him get through it. So we'll see. It was tough though. It's honestly pretty sad because they were fixing their season somehow. So
yeah, they're reviving it somehow despite losing Justin Jefferson. Yeah, Minnesota gets the win. We did go 14-2. We'll probably get into that, but this was a game that was a toss-up and came out on the right side of. And then the next game, this was a really, really fun game. Green Bay, Minnesota, that game sucked. This next game was awesome.
It was cool. Just cool shit happening.
Yeah, the Falcons and the Titans. The Titans were wearing the throwback Oilers jerseys, which isn't even Tennessee. So a little bit controversial to bring back Houston Oilers for the Tennessee Titans, even though that was the same franchise. Will Levis' debut went about as good as it could have possibly gone. I know on last week's show we talked about it. It can go one of two ways. I don't think this was one of the ways. I think he did even better than what our good scenario was somehow. 4 touchdowns, over 200 yards, 3 of them to D-Hop.
And
That was
that's the
pretty cool.
important thing. That
Yeah,
is
he's like,
huge.
we actually have a good receiver on the team, Ryan Tannehill. Why aren't you using him? Like, I'll use him. D Hop was just cooking the Falcons' defense all day. Those cornerbacks didn't stand a chance. I mean, he blew past them 2-3 times for a touchdown. Will Levis was throwing the deep ball really good, which is something that you just absolutely love to see. A guy in his first NFL start go out and just throw the deep ball multiple times right there. That doesn't that's a true quarterback right there. And obviously the moment that he had with his family after the game, he's had a lot of people doubt him over the last year, half year, or whatever, since the draft, since he fell in the draft. I'm happy for him. Obviously, I've been on him since I shook his hand in the preseason. That's when I became the Will Levis guy. I said I would try mayonnaise in my coffee if if he won Rookie of the Year, which unlikely because he missed so many games. But if he keeps this up, I mean, he's not. He's definitely a lot behind C.J. Stroud, but he could turn up here. Also, former guest of the show, Brooke Grimsley, also has a Mayo in the coffee bet too. If the Titans don't win the next 4 games, I believe, then she has to do it. So it's
So
yeah,
she's gonna have to do it. Is what
yeah,
you're
yeah,
saying?
exactly.
Yeah. Um, yeah, it was pretty sweet. I'm not gonna lie, and the jerseys made it that much cooler. One stat to point out is ever since him and his hot girlfriend broke up, he's really been on the up. So things are looking good
Brokey's
for
up,
him.
baby.
So look at that. But yeah, this is big for Tennessee in terms of okay, now we have a guy. Let's see if he can lead us to some different places. Yeah, and by that I mean somehow figuring out a way to catch up to the Jaguars and trying to win the South. It's not impossible if their schedule's not crazy hard, um, and you have a good head coach and a team where just they play in weird games. So if you have a good quarterback that can play in weird games, weird things can happen. So yeah, on the other side of this, Desmond Ritter got evaluated for a concussion during the middle of the game,
Yeah,
and
benched.
they're like, "You don't have a concussion," and then the coach Arthur Smith is like, "Yeah, but I'm not putting him back in." So now it's just
I
Taylor
thought that was
Heineke
last
time.
week, 2 weeks ago, when that happened. I could have swore, but
Did Taylor Heineke play a whole game?
I don't think. I think Desmond Ritter played this whole game. I think Heineke played last week, if my memory serves correct. But keep talking. I'll look it up real quick.
Okay. Well, that is just weird. I know they've officially announced that Heineke's a starter though after this game. So yeah, interesting game out in
Oh,
Tennessee.
never
That was for
mind.
sure.
You're right, Cam. I don't know
Okay.
what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
It just seems like so long ago. This week has been so damn long.
That's that. No, that's
Felt like
real.
2 weeks.
That's real. But yeah, Ritter evaluated for concussion, didn't have one. They still didn't put him back in, and that was like their excuse to put in Heineke finally, and they're just rolling with it. So don't really blame them, but we'll see what happens there. New Orleans at Indianapolis. Thankfully, we ended up going with the Saints. That was also kind of a crazy game because out of nowhere, and I don't know if the Colts defense is just this bad, but Derek Carr looked like vintage Derek Carr and like they scored a boatload of points, and that was a really interesting game, like where red zone is constantly flashing over to it, even though it feels like that game means nothing.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, Tampa Bay keeps losing. Saints, are literally right there, in the NFC South. So maybe it does
And in
mean
the wild
something.
card.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe it does mean something. But the Saints get out of there with the win. Um, yeah, I think the roof is kind of
Doesn't mean
lost.
anything
It's
anymore.
kind of lost its mojo,
Yeah.
unfortunately. But yeah, New England at Miami went.
New England not back. Miami takes
Yeah,
care of business.
yeah. We said if they were figured out a way to do it, then maybe they'd be back. But Miami won. Went about just about how I expected it to be honest.
Yeah, very
So
normal game.
this next one, not a very normal game.
Big Ten
Very.
game.
This was just wild. I mean, there was, I think, oh man, I think it was what
Over
there was.
1,000 yards worth of punts in this game.
There was the final score was 13-10. It was 10-10 to go into overtime. Zach Wilson led a field goal drive to send it to overtime, and there were 24 punts in this game. So 24 punts, 23 points. Unreal defense in this game. Kayvon Thibodeau had 3 sacks, and both sides were just flying all over the place. But I feel like the better team got the win. So, the Jets keep on stacking them. I don't. Zach Wilson is meddling, but yeah, they do keep on surviving and they keep pushing up wins. So, but that was a weird game. Another game where Dalvin Cook didn't really feel like he didn't really do anything. So I'm sure he's boiling over. So we'll see what happens there. But the trade deadline has passed. So
Yep.
Jacksonville at Pittsburgh. This was one of 2 that we got wrong.
Yeah. Well, this was the one that, remember, I was so confident in some of these games and because I evaluated them. I took some time. This was the one I still had no idea. And unfortunately, we were on the wrong side of the coin. But, I mean, this is just a classic example of Jaguars are actually good this year. I know we questioned them, certainly, going into the year, thinking, can they repeat what they did last year in the second half? And they are. And then it's just the Steelers, their offense is so bad. It's so bad.
And this was the game, how we always talk about how sometimes in the fourth quarter, the Steelers look like the greatest show on turf in the fourth quarter.
That's simply false. If you're talking about their defense, I mean, yeah, their defense.
Okay, but there's been some weeks where the Steelers' offense in the fourth quarter is like, it is like they flip a switch in the fourth quarter. Like the defense drags them to the fourth quarter, does all the heavy lifting, has probably scored more points than the offense throughout 3 quarters. And then they get to the fourth quarter and they finally do something. Not in this game. They got to the fourth quarter and they continued to not do anything. Couple notes from this game. Kenny Pickett is dead and Mitch is back. Those are the notes from that game.
What happened to Kenny?
He got his ribs smashed. And one thing about Kenny Pickett is he just gets crushed a lot. I don't really know how to – I think it's his body type. And it looks like it hurts extra on the Steelers' grass. I have no idea why, but it does. And, I'm just thinking about guys right now, like Sam Howell, when he gets sacked all the time, but he doesn't get crushed. Kenny Pickett, I swear, just like gets driven into the ground. And, I mean, this was inevitable. Also,
what happened to Minka? Is he all right? He went down with the non-contact injury.
He pulled a hamstring, so he'll probably be out for a little bit, unfortunately, which is a big loss for the Steelers.
But not ACL, which is what it looked like originally.
Not ACL, no. Philadelphia at Washington, great game, probably the best game of the early window, and also Atlanta and Tennessee. But this was an awesome game. Eagles mounted I think it was double digit. Or no, they 14. Scored 14 unanswered, I believe. But Sam Howell, once again, unreal against the Eagles. Looking like a franchise quarterback when he plays against the Eagles. Jalen Hurts also looked awesome in this game. And it was a shootout. So can't really ask for that much more, although the Commanders really dropped the ball in this one. They should have won this game. Terry McLaurin dropped some passes at the end, which I was a little shocked by. He's usually so sure-handed and kind of costs them the game, but it happens. Washington very much spiraling, as we
Yeah,
saw at the
yeah,
deadline. They sold pretty much two of their biggest members of their front seven. So, yeah, I don't really blame them, which probably means Ron Rivera's head is coming
he's
very
done.
soon as well. If they're selling their front seven, which pretty much means they're, throwing the towel on the season. So, because you need pass rushers to win
Yeah,
in this league. So,
this is
I've
my
seen
note on this
really.
game. It's almost becoming the new Chiefs Chargers, where it's like always a good game, but one team always wins in the end.
That's true. The other team's quarterback always plays unbelievably well,
Yeah, it's
like
always a
Justin Herbert.
shootout.
Yeah,
Yep.
pretty good colors, appealing on the eyes. Yeah, you're right. Um, I actually really liked those all burgundy that the Commanders
Oh yeah,
wore.
those are. They
I
needed
like
the
those.
uniform upgrade, and they got it. So
Yeah. Um, Luke, do you want to talk about this one? This one was also really gross.
I think we say that the Carolina Panthers won their first game, and this was a game that we got right. By the way, this is one that we said needed to fall our way if we wanted to get back, in the win column for our picks. It happened at the very end, the walk-off field goal, walk-off chip shot. I probably could have made that field goal. I'll say it. I could have made that. Um, and Bryce Young, I guess, beats his former buddy, but neither team really played especially well. It was a really gross game. Um,
Lots of field goals.
yeah, a lot of some missed extra points, some missed 2 points. Ended up being a weird final score, 15-13, I believe, is what it was.
Yeah,
But hey, Panthers get their first win. Um,
they all count the same.
yeah, and hey, the Panthers, they're they're in a bad division. They are
No,
not that good of a team, but they have some
no.
winnable games coming up. They could be in the conversation in a few weeks of, hey, this team could make a run. I will not.
I
I'll
don't think
buy into
so.
it if that happens. But I was going to say I'm not going to buy into it, but I will. So
I I don't think I will. I sold. I lost money, but I sold all my Panthers stock, so I got back what I could. Um, yeah, I wasn't even confident in that pick last week. I'm glad that we stuck with it, but that was the gross. I said the next four games I did fall asleep during the second half, but Cleveland at Seattle. Uh, I don't really know. I don't really know what happened
these are two teams that have been playing really fun games all year.
until this.
No, it was a decently fun game. It came down to it at the end. Seattle takes care of business though. They're in first place now. Cleveland, it's kind of they need a quarterback. That's that's kind of what their mo is. Even though PJ Walker isn't playing bad, they just need a little bit more on offense. But they're staying in these close games. They're covering the spreads. They hung in there, I guess. I'll be honest, I didn't see a ton of highlights from this game. Like I just said, I was watching Cincinnati, San Francisco. So yeah, that's all I have. It was a close game, but Seattle
Yep.
wins.
Much more importantly, Kansas City lost to Denver. This was snow on the ground. Patrick Mahomes flew. Not exactly a Jordan-like flu game, if you will, and
Definitely not. Two
they
turnovers.
lost to Denver for the first time in 17 tries. So, there you go. That's really all you have to know. I mean, Mahomes hasn't lost to him yet, and now the streak is finally over.
I did see a stat. Russell Wilson's the first Broncos quarterback to beat the Chiefs since Peyton Manning. So
There
there
you
you go.
go. Broncos country.
There we go. Maybe it's not the worst trade ever.
Yeah.
They beat the Chiefs, and hey, they kind of granted they beat the Packers and a very very injured and sick Chiefs team. But hey, that's two wins, baby. They're kind of on the upswing here. Sean Payton is showing that his team has a little bit of
Beat the
life.
Bears.
Yeah, they're not going to do anything this year, but it's nice to show that your team isn't completely dead. Because Sean Payton was honestly kind of sneaking up there on the sad coach power rankings. But the last 2 weeks, he's really revived this team, and they have a pulse now. It's still a very slow pulse, but they have one. And they're expecting to be maybe frisky, maybe spoiler the rest of the year. That's kind of what they're going to be. But yeah,
Weird though. Baltimore at Arizona, Bird Bowl. Josh Dobbs last game as a Cardinal. Um, yeah, not pretty, really on either side. Really, um, Ratbirds won. That's basically all you need to know.
yeah. Arizona did do some funny business at the end, but at the same time, they're trying to tank. So the funny business didn't pay off into a win, which I'm sure their fans are fine with.
Yeah.
Cincinnati, San Francisco. This was probably the game of the week. The one that I watched, a lot of weird stuff happened in this game. Some weird turnovers. The Bengals took care of business. Watch out there, microphone. Jamar Chase cooked the 49ers defense. Joe Mixon was kind of cooking too. And Brock Purdy had some bad turnovers once again. McCaffrey scored a touchdown once again. 49ers are struggling. They need some help. I think we said that this was a must win for both teams. Bengals get the must win. They're finding their stride right now. This is kind of about the time where they start to go on their heater. They're 4-3. Watch out for that. Can almost be a sleeper for fantasy corner. The Bengals. And the 49ers, they got some issues they got to resolve. They're going into the bye week. This is a perfect time for a bye week for them, honestly. And we'll see if they can fix it. That's about it, though.
Yeah, I watched a bunch of this game too. One thing, you're right. Joe Mixon the past two games, I feel like he's just been running much harder, and it's really helping them out. So I don't know if that's just the offensive line is figuring some stuff out as well up front, and they're just able to run the ball a little bit more. But Joe Burrow, I mean, it's night and day. I know Joe Burrow took off one time in this game, and like for a 20-yard scramble where he didn't even slide. Like he willingly took the hit. And it is like, this is the difference, between what they were doing at the beginning of the year when Joe wasn't healthy to now. It's like I said, it's night and day. And I know you just said that it's almost like you could put them as a sleeper. But really, we all kind of they do it. They do it every single year.
The third year in a row.
It just kind of happened to like 1 week later than usual this year. And that was kind of because of Joe's injury. But here we are. They are looking really, really good. 49ers not looking that good. I'm a little surprised how bad their defense has been lately. And maybe that's just because they're not getting the kind of support that they need from Brock Purdy in the offense. Two things to point out are two big guys they were missing this week. No Debo and no Trent Williams. So literally probably the best tackle in the league still, and one of the best playmakers in the league. You don't have them against a Bengals defense that has been playing really, really well. That's going to hurt. So, but yeah, I mean that's a huge win for the Bengals and the AFC North. All
Best
of a sudden,
in football.
It's coming back together. Like just like 2 to 3 weeks ago, we were like, Jesus, this looks pretty disgusting. We thought this was going to be a good division at the beginning of the year, and well,
now it is.
Turns out it is actually still a very good division. So, in fact, it's probably the Steelers are 4-3, and they, might be. Them or the Browns are definitely the worst team in the division. So
they're the only team that doesn't have a losing team in their division. We'll say that,
which is crazy. So, yeah. And then Chicago at LA Chargers on Monday night. Tyson Bagent threw, I think, 3 interceptions, 2 bad, 1 tipped. Chargers, I don't think punted. I think they scored on every single drive. They scored 30 points, 130-15. Chicago got a little something going at the end. That's all you really need to know is they kind of just throttled them.
Yeah, my 2 words for this game is didn't watch.
Yeah, I
And
barely was watching this one as well. And then Las Vegas at Detroit was a good game for a while, and then Jamar Gibbs tore it open. Not that it was a blowout in the end, but Jamar Gibbs, I mean, this was his coming out party, best game of his NFL career by a country mile. So, yeah. But a couple things from this game, Luke. Jimmy G looked awful, and they benched him this week, even though they wished him happy birthday on all their social medias, which I thought was funny. They benched him this week for Aiden O'Connell. They fired the head coach. They fired the offensive coordinator. They fired the GM. They got a
you're
new
starting
head
over.
coach, Mr. Pierce, who is definitely a player's coach, saying the players are going to feel me and I'm going to feel them.
He's
So
going to
looks
make
like,
Carl Nassib unretire.
I mean, I liked his opening speech. Like you can tell, I think they'll play for him. Like they're going to definitely play hard for him. I don't know if that's going to turn into wins right away, but we'll see what happens.
Could be a
And
Rich
then,
Bisaccia situation.
yeah, exactly. And I think he sounds more like a player's coach. And he has a more tone of a player's coach than even Rich did. So, yeah. And then the other thing, Detroit's jerseys, I didn't really like them. I really hope they don't like wear those on Thanksgiving or anything. That would really upset me if they wear those on Thanksgiving. So they were pretty ugly, not gonna lie. Aiden Hutchinson did dress up as Shark Boy from Shark Boy and Lava Girl before the game, and then Taylor Lautner met him. So that was the other takeaway. So there you go.
Yeah, 14-2, baby. Kind of nailed this week. Big bounce back week, and I mean, all 16 games were going, all 32 teams, no
Yeah,
buys. Like we mentioned on last week's show, very weird. Fantasy corner,
absolutely.
you're
I'll go
first this week, buddy.
first. My stardom is Cole Kmet, Luke. I told everybody to bench his ass last week, or sit him, that if you will, and well, it turned out I was going to sit him on my fantasy team as well, and I wasn't able to because Pat Fryermuth is still hurt, and he proved me wrong. He scored 17.5 points or 17.9 points, which I think was first or second for tight ends in fantasy. So he proved
Behind
me wrong.
Trey
So,
McBride, probably.
yeah. Yeah. So, you know what? He proved my ass wrong. So I'm going to start Cole Kmet. My sit-em, Luke, is the Vikings. Now you might be, why am I sitting the Vikings? They're going through a tough time. Well, because they had the best opportunity in the entire world to go out and get famous Jameis Winston for a weird run to end the season. Instead, they went out and got Josh Dobbs out of Arizona. So I'm sitting them. Clearly, I think they are going into tank mode if they're signing Josh Dobbs and starting Jaron Hall this week. So I'm sitting the Vikings. I'm not going to lie. I put a lot of the anger on my brother, who's a giant Vikings fan. I'm a little pissed off still. There's nothing they can do about it now. The trade deadline is come and gone. But, I mean, this is the perfect opportunity. I mean, Kirk's salvaged your season from the depths, and you're kind of just throwing it into the fire now by not going and getting somebody who can help you compete. Not that Josh Dobbs has been an absolute imbecile this year, but I don't know. I feel like they had a much better opportunity with a couple different names out there, including Jameis. So, sitting the Vikings, and then my sleeper is Bob Knight. He passed away,
He's
and
sleeping.
he is dead.
He's
And he
sleeping
is sleeping.
forever.
And I I had a great Bob Knight quote that I'm going to read off real quick.
Bob Knight, legendary coach for Indiana, I believe, won a lot of
Yes.
national titles. Um, he's probably number 2 behind Wooden in terms of college basketball coaches all time. And then number 3 is Roy Williams, and number 4 is Sean Miller, and number 5 is what's that guy from Duke? John Shire.
John
And
Shire, yeah.
then and then number 6 is Tom Izzo.
7,
Um,
Boeheim, probably.
yeah, he's been pretty good. 8, probably Mick Cronin.
Yeah.
Um,
9, Dennis Gates, probably. You could probably throw him in there. So, yeah. But here we go. Coach Knight, when my time on earth is gone and my activities here are past, I want them to bury me upside down and my critics can kiss my ass. Coach Bob Knight. Rest in peace, buddy.
he's buried face down.
Pretty awesome. So
Face down, ass up. That's how he
I
wanted to
know
be buried.
he was definitely one of my dad's favorites. So
Yeah, he was kind of like that tough guy attitude.
yeah,
Kind of what he represented.
huge tough
Did
guy.
he coach Michigan too? I feel like
Not Michigan, I don't believe.
Hmm.
But he coached Army. He coached Coach K, actually. So
wow.
at Army.
Who's Coach K?
Yeah. So but yeah.
Oh, the guy who
yeah.
coached USA basketball that year. That's right. I remember him.
Yeah, about 4 times actually, even though you're only supposed to do it 1 time.
Yeah, he's a good sleeper. All right, I guess I'm up. Stardom is the college football playoff because this week the first college football playoff rankings came out, which I kind of forgot about, to be honest, that they did that. And then I got the notification. It was like, tune in right now to see the first college football playoff rankings of the year. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot that they do that. I do believe this is the last year of the 4 teams, I believe.
Yes, next year we'll have our 12-team
Okay.
bracket.
So
but
end of an era.
It's set up really weird with group of 5 team stuff. So like Mizzou in the top 12 of this week's poll
wouldn't make it.
Wouldn't make it. They would be the first team out, and Louisville would be the second team out.
Yeah, weird. I actually like the rankings. I think they were really good. They did keep Air Force ranked, which I wasn't sure that they were going to do, but they have some good wins. They beat Wyoming, who has some good wins, and they're undefeated, and they're the troops. So shout out to the college football, putting them in at 25, keeping them in there, and then really I think they nailed it. I mean, Ohio State at 1 was controversial, but they have better wins. I mean, going off what they have this year, Ohio State needs to be number 1. I mean, and they really ranked them in terms of losses. Like, they have all the undefeated teams in the top 5. Then they have a bunch of 1-loss teams. And then they have a bunch of 2-loss teams. Right after that, I mean, there's no funny business. Notre Dame, LSU, who are 2-loss teams that have some good wins and good losses, they still rank them below the 1-loss teams, which, I respect that a ton. So I really think it was really, really good rankings. It made sense, and it also increased Mizzou's ranking a little bit too. So going into the Georgia game this week, it's a top 12 matchup. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Although Georgia won't be 1, which kind of sucks, but
yeah,
I will say, yeah, I agree. It was pretty good rankings. One thing I always loved about the idea that they do a college football playoff ranking after 8 weeks is the fact that it really doesn't matter whatsoever, and all the teams pretty much ranked in the top 15 control their own destiny anyway. So, it doesn't really matter at all. It really matters what comes out at the end. One thing that every single year that I also realize is that in 2 weeks, the week 10 college football playoff power ranking show, they always reveal it during a gigantic basketball showdown, like the first huge tip off games of the year. So like they'll do the top 25 show, and then they'll like take you into like Duke, Kansas, or something like that. So like that's exciting too, that we're getting good college basketball games coming up. In fact,
Next week, baby.
Monday, yeah,
Yeah, that could be a
is
stardom,
Mizzou's first
actually.
name.
We got
Yeah,
all these sports. A few weeks ago, it was hockey. Then it was the NBA. Now it's college basketball, and it's just I'm so excited for college basketball. This is the year, baby. That a lot of stuff's going to be fun. I mean, it was really fun last year, but this year, I'm thinking about getting ESPN Plus. That's how excited I am. As crazy as that sounds. Uh, Another stardom is Becky Hammon. We were talking for some reason we were talking about women's basketball before the show. I don't remember why. So this was a last second stardom, but her team, the Vegas, Vegas, they won the WNBA title for the second year in a row. So if you don't know who that is, she was a former assistant coach for the Spurs.
Vegas Aces, by the way.
Okay.
Just to give you some stripes there.
Okay. Yeah. Vegas Aces. I knew that. Um, she was a former assistant coach for the Spurs. Got some head coach interviews one year, but then they're like, "Well, you don't really have any head coaching experience." So she went to the WNBA. Now she's won back-to-back titles as the head coach. I truly believe she will be the first woman head coach in the NBA, and she's definitely earned it. I mean, people whenever that happens, it's going to be like a Doris Burke situation. Like people are just going to hate because she's a woman, but like Doris Burke, one of the best announcers in basketball, truly. And Becky Hammon, obviously, we don't know what's going to happen there. It'll be weird. It's definitely going to make the news all over when it happens. But I mean, you can't argue. She has built the resume for it. So, um, yeah, start her. Sit 'em is honestly you could sit myself. I've been out for the last few days. Um, I haven't been on the injured reserve or anything. Just out with a little cold. I haven't been sick in a long time, and I've just been, I've been devastated with the headaches and the sore throats and just the body aches, just everything. And then sit 'em just the dog days of the semester right now. Um, we're a little bit over the halfway point of the semester, and it just feels so much like the dog days. Like we've been in it for so long, but like there's still a lot left. And that's just the worst feeling. The middle is always the worst feeling in anything. It sucks to be in the middle. Like if you're at if you're at the top, it's awesome. If you're at the end, you get the first draft pick. It's awesome. But if you're in the middle, it just sucks. And then my sleeper is the Alabama Crimson Tide. And this is not referring to basketball, although they'll probably make a few people sleep, if you know what I mean. Sleep forever. Uh, uh,
Jesus Christ. That was from the top fucking rope. Holy shit.
yeah, it was. Yeah. Remember when that happened, though? When they literally had
Yeah,
a player that killed someone?
that was good content. Yeah. Well, he didn't kill somebody, but
I'm pretty sure.
he gave the gun to him.
No, that was Brandon Miller who ended up going number 2 in the draft. Darius Miles, who was on the team as a bench
Oh
player,
yeah, he killed him. Yeah.
he killed someone. Yeah,
He killed him. Yeah.
he got kicked
He
off the
shot him
team.
dead.
Yeah,
So
that's crazy that happened. Yeah. So, but Alabama football team. I think they're going to make the college football playoff. I think they're going to win the SEC. They're going to win this week at LSU. It's going to be a good game, but no QB has beaten Nick Saban in back-to-back years since Drew Brees in the Big Ten. Think about that. So Jane Daniels is going to do that. Probably not going to happen. It's in Tuscaloosa. I think Alabama's going to get a big win over them this week, secure their spot in the SEC West part of the division. Honestly, big week for the SEC because the Mizzou Georgia game could end up deciding the that side of the bracket too. Obviously, Tennessee's still alive, but this is really the biggest game. These two, but Alabama, I think they're gonna obviously gonna go to the championship. I think they're gonna beat whoever it is from the East, whether it's Georgia, whether it's another team. I think they're going to beat them, and I think that they're going to sneak into the college football playoff here and maybe even win the national title. And it's if he wins the national title this year, I think this is Saban's greatest work of art. So yeah, that's definitely my sleeper. Watch out for them.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know if they have the quarterback play to, and it's not just the quarterback play, but the entire offense. I don't know if they have the guys that they need to push them over the hump to beat like Michigan or even Ohio State. But yeah, I could definitely see them possibly winning the SEC as well. It's definitely not impossible. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Also, another sleeper, the Memphis Grizzlies, because they've been sleeping the whole year. They're the only winless team, I think, right now.
Oh, they got throttled last night.
They're bad. Their coach is 100% getting fired after this year, after the expectations he set the last few years. This team is bad. They suck.
Is Ja playing?
No.
He's suspended still, right?
Yeah.
I can't remember.
So.
It's
Either
been
that
so
or he's hurt, but he's
long.
not playing. But yeah,
It's
the
been so
Grizzlies
long since that happened.
They're back to being really bad.
No Brooks.
He got cooked the other day.
And then look what happened.
Curry. By Chef Curry. All right, Cam, we got a few things to do here. First, I think we should mention soccer briefly here. So the MLS, the first round started. It's weird. It spans over 3 weeks. The first round of the MLS, it's a best of 3 series, but St. Louis is going with a little in-state battle with Kansas City. And I think Kansas City's going to win. I mean, they already did win the first game. They kind of throttled St. Louis 4-1 in City Park, in the rain, really disgusting conditions. I watched about 10, 15 minutes of the game. I tuned in. I saw Kansas City score a goal to go up 3-1. And then I turned it off at halftime and didn't turn it back on. So hopefully better luck for
that. You got some stripes from that.
Yeah, I can't really give a lot of analysis because obviously I'm not a soccer. The only soccer I've ever watched was the World Cup last year, and the game that I went to earlier this year, which was a blowout. But they just didn't look like they were passing the ball too well, which can be fixed, I guess. But now you got to win 2 in a row. You're going to Kansas City. Just win and force the game 3 and you're good. But I think I saw something. Kansas City is the hottest team in the MLS right now. I think they were dead last in the standings, like at the midway point of the year. In this second half, they've just like revitalized their season. So they're hot right now. So it could be a very, very unfortunate situation for St. Louis. Yeah, we'll have more.
Interesting.
They play on Sunday, so.
I had a confession, and it's nothing crazy, but my confession is I've always been a huge, gigantic NBA season does not start until Christmas Day. And I have been finding myself watching multiple NBA regular season games, and I've pretty much watched almost every single Laker regular season game, including last night. The Lakers finally beat the Clippers last night for the first time in 3 years. They had lost 11 in a row to the Clippers, which is pretty crazy. And it went into overtime because the Clippers went on a 13-4 run to end the fourth quarter to send it to overtime. And then Austin Reeves became one of the sickest white boys on the planet that you've ever seen in overtime. And LeBron had a freaking sweet slam at the end to kind of seal the deal. Sweet Laker win, but like it hit me. I was like, it is October. It was November 1st, and well, actually, it was November 2nd because it was past 12 a.m. And I was like, why is Laker Cam here in November? I mean, this is unprecedented.
A little
We
sicko.
it's sicko. It's disgusting. I don't know why I'm watching the NBA this early, but I have actually enjoyed at least the Laker games. And that fat ass Zion is back. They had a huge comeback last night as well against the Thunder. They were down 22. I mean, I don't know. I feel like I'm accidentally becoming a hoop head on accident. So during football season. I mean,
Well, yeah, but I did realize something that the NBA started last week, and we didn't give finals predictions. I feel like we have to do that.
well, we can do that next week.
Really,
Jot
I
it
got
down.
mine set. I got mine set
You,
right
you
now.
already did. All right. Well,
I get the Celtics over the Nuggets, baby.
holy shit. Yeah, the Celtics are looking unstoppable.
I think this
What?
is their
Chris
year. They've been on the
Porzingis
cusp
is
for like
just
5 years.
back? What is
Huh?
this? Porzingis is just back.
Yeah, he's gonna die at some point in the near future.
Okay.
It's very weird to see him performing. He hasn't been good in half a decade. But yeah, they've been kind of like on the cusp of that title for a long time now. I think this is the year they finally break through over the Nuggets
Yeah.
because
I don't
they're
know.
still really good too.
Did you see that the Raptors beat the Bucks last night too? And it looks like Brook Lopez shit his pants.
No,
No.
I don't know how to feel about the Bucks this year though.
I know they are weird. It's like with Dame and Giannis, there's only one ball, Luke. We
Yeah,
always say that.
it's weird. But I do think I'm excited for the Thunder this year, and also the Pelicans. They're both having a really good year. I think they might do some things in the Western Conference,
I would
especially
like
the
that.
Thunder.
I would like that. But yeah. Man, I
What's
will.
hockey, Def?
I
Or do you
will.
want to save that till after picks?
I was gonna throw out my NBA. I also have the Celtics in the West. I just have no idea.
You can wait a week, get a little more
Okay,
evaluation.
I think it might be the Nuggets too, but I don't want it to be. I want it to be a little bit different. Although, I mean, the Heat were in it last year, so. But the Celtics were in it the year before. You know, it's been a lot of the same. It feels like out of the Eastern Conference lately, ever since LeBron left. But
Well, I mean that was the ultimate the same out of the Eastern Conference.
no,
I mean,
yeah,
every
but I
year.
was okay with that because it was LeBron. So, yeah, hockey death. There, a hockey player died on the ice.
Oh yeah,
I think it was minor league hockey, just like right below. Because this guy Adam
it was
Johnson.
English. In the United Kingdom, it was in the UK
Gotcha. Okay.
hockey league.
Well, Adam Johnson, who's played for the Penguins multiple times, I can't. I'm blanking. I should have wrote his name down. The guy that
It's like Petrivov or something.
yeah, he like kung fu kicked Adam Johnson in the throat with his skate, which slit his throat wide open, and
He died.
he was like on the ice, and he was like trying to stand up, and the blood was just like rushing from his throat onto the ice, onto his jersey. His teammate got him up and was holding his throat for him. I don't know if that was doing anything at all, and he like died. Like I guess a
Yeah,
few minutes later.
I mean that's ultimate hockey guy. I mean, he got literally his throat slit, and he stood up and started to skate off the ice. And whenever he did, I mean, his jersey was just soaked in blood.
Yeah, it's
It
a
was,
hard visual to
yeah.
watch.
I think I saw it pop up, and I watched it happen, and then as soon as I saw that, like the video ended, and I'm like, I'm not searching out anymore. That's all I want to see.
I've
I'm
watched
good.
it probably like 7 times, but yeah,
And there was like a bunch of close up videos. I'm not watching that.
I watched all of them.
It's I mean, it was one of those things like I want to see like it happen to see like if it was intentional because that's like a big thing, but I don't need to see the close up. Like that's
Yeah,
it's just it's a guy's he died. He died.
yeah,
It's
no,
not like just an injury. Like he literally
he's dead. Yeah,
he got
and
killed.
and the other guy, like I was doing the same thing. I'm like, did he? I mean, because he kung fu kicked him with his skate. But he was like diving out of a play, like because he was getting hit as well, and he like flung his body, kind of like how George Pickens will just like fling his body on a block, and then skate got him literally right in the throat. The chances are so slim, but it is crazy. I mean, a hockey death.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah, I think there was a guy for the Buffalo Sabres. I think it happened in St. Louis too. It was against the Blues, and it was the goalie. And he was like diving to save a puck, and some guy got tripped up. His skate didn't go very far in the air, but since the goalie dove, he was like on the ground, and it just like clipped. It slit his throat. He didn't die. He actually, I think it was like 10 days later, he played in the game. That's like ultimate hockey guy. I cannot believe
I
that
wouldn't
happened.
expect anything less, but yeah.
That's like the only other time that we've seen that actually happen. And that was in the 90s, I think.
And that makes like I could see it happening to a goalie, if that makes sense. Like because there's bodies flinging all over the place with goalies.
They have to wear the neck pad. Ever since that happened, I think goalies have to wear a neck pad,
and that makes sense. They should.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can't really make. I don't think you can really make players wear. I don't know what you could do to fix this. I mean, it's happened one time, so I don't know if you really have to fix it. But it is a hard visual to watch, and it was just shocking.
Yeah, and some people are saying he did it on purpose, and I'm not a hockey guy by any means. Never played, other than in gym class. But I can't imagine that somebody would intentionally throw their skate up. Regardless, I know that if he did intentionally do it, he wasn't trying to kill him. Obviously, but I mean, they know how dangerous their blades are. I don't think that anybody would intentionally throw up a skate like that, like trying to intentionally hit someone with their skate. I just can't wrap my head around that because they know how dangerous that is. These guys have been playing for so long.
Yeah.
So that's why I'll defend that player. I think it's just an unfortunate play.
Yeah, it's just shocking to think about. I feel so.
Yeah,
the fan base. I mean, there's like 8,000 people there. They're scarred for life. Probably his teammate. I don't know how that team plays another game for months.
I don't think they will. I think the whole league, they canceled their games for the rest of the week, and I know that team canceled their games for multiple weeks.
I mean, the guy that helped him up, and was trying to get him off the ice, I mean, he probably can't even sleep at night. I don't think I would be able to. I mean, geez Louise. So,
yeah.
So, I guess
surreal.
Adam Johnson. I know they like put his jersey up on the scoreboard and whatever, and it's been a big thing in the hockey world. But yeah, just shocking. So
yeah,
all right,
definitely, just shocking. But yeah, if you haven't seen the video, I don't recommend seeing it. It is very, very graphic.
It is very graphic.
Somebody dying from an open wound. I can't. It's as graphic as it sounds. But yeah, but I think we should wrap up this episode here with the pick sheet for week 9. Cam.
All right, there we go. So kind of on the hot seat here, Tennessee at Pittsburgh.
Kind of a big game.
Kind of a huge, gigantic game for both of these teams. I kind of want to ride the tits a little bit, but it is at home, and it's a rookie quarterback, Mike Tomlin. Oh, man. I think we're going to play Renegade twice, so I'm going to take Pittsburgh.
I think you can't really get any higher than what Will Levis just had. So
yeah, that's true. Oh, my God. The best game on the goddamn slate, I forgot, is in Germany.
It's at 8:30. I hate the NFL will put the Bears and the Chargers at Sunday Night Football, but then put this game at 8:30 in the. I have been so disappointed in the NFL schedule makers this year. So disappointed. Like I know that you can't hit every game, you simply can't make every primetime game good. But come on, have a little bit of effort in this thing. Come on. It has been god-awful this year. I've looked at some of the future games, not excited at all. It's just a bad slate of primetime football this
Yeah.
year. Very, very disappointed.
Oh man. Well, I guess I I don't know, Luke. I think this could be a shocker. I think I might go with Miami. What do you think? Has
Oh,
Mahomes lost 2 games in a row before?
that's a good question. Probably because the one year they were like 2-4 to start off the year.
True.
I don't hate this. Miami is already there. They've been in Germany since like the game ended on Sunday. And as we've seen this year, the earlier that you get over there, the better your chances are to win the game. I don't
Gotcha.
hate that.
Um, I don't feel great about it, but I'm gonna do it. I think Miami's gonna wear some fast jerseys.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then you've been
Tyreek
there
Hill
all
revenge
week.
game.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Wow. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I feel good about it actually a little bit now.
Taylor Swift is not going to be there
I might get up for this game. Ah.
for the second half.
Well, I guess it depends on how Saturday goes, but yeah. Minnesota at Atlanta. I would take Kirk here, but he's dead, so I'm gonna take Atlanta.
Okay.
I'm gonna give me a
Heineke.
Heineke game.
Yep.
So it's in the.
Why is this graphic so weird?
I've shrinked it down so I could fit it all on, so I can look at it and type it. Arizona at Cleveland. Cleveland. That's
Don't think
easy.
too hard in that one. Clayton Tune will be playing.
Sorry, Luke. I don't think they're gonna figure it out just yet. Oh well. Hold on here.
I'm pretty sure that Stafford is out. I forget who their backup is, but he's playing.
Uh
Rams QB.
is it Perkins?
No. Stetson Bennett.
Oh, give me Stetson Bennett. If he's starting, I'll take him.
I don't think it's Stetson Bennett. Bryce Perkins. Or eventually. Oh, this is who it is. Brett Rypien.
No, give me
Remember
the
him
Packers.
from the
Is he
Broncos?
starting? Did they announce him as starting?
I think he's taking first team reps all week.
Okay. Well,
You want to make that a clause game if it's
yeah, I
Rypien?
was saying the same thing. If Stafford
Okay.
plays, I might take the Rams,
Yeah,
but
I agree with that. Yeah.
I mean that is disgusting. Jesus,
Yeah. At least start
God have
Stetson.
mercy. Washington at New England. Oh, that is. I don't
This is
even know,
gross.
man.
I
What?
just take Belichick over Ron Rivera.
Yeah, but Sam played so good last week.
Yeah, I know, but here, think
No,
about
I'm
this.
taking Sam. I'm
If the
taking Sam.
Patriots win, okay,
I'm taking Sam because he was so good last week.
I need the Patriots to win because right now Green Bay is in an intense race on the Tankathon website.
Chicago at New Orleans.
Coin.
I'm taking New Orleans.
Yep.
I don't
Coin,
believe.
baby.
I've kind of been on New Orleans for a little bit.
Even
I
though you
just
took
keep
the under.
I just keep seeing them, and I'm like, I'm taking them. They just do weird shit.
Game of the week right here.
Seattle. Yeah, this is a really good game. I think it's 5-2 versus 6-2. Seattle at Baltimore. I want to take Baltimore personally, but what are your thoughts here?
That's fine. One thing we forgot to mention about Seattle is last week they wore those sick jerseys, the throwbacks.
Oh my gosh.
So they're not going to be wearing those this week, obviously. But
I mean, those were good for 10 points.
yeah.
Tampa
Bay, Houston.
Houston. This might be the toss up of the week.
More like the mid off of the week.
I mean, Tampa Bay can win, but Houston can very easily pull this off.
It's in Houston. Texas
I
is hot right now.
hate NRG Stadium, but I think I will take. I don't know though. I'm going to go with Tampa just
Okay.
because Baker was really gritty last week, so I'm going to take him. And they didn't trade Mike Evans, so he's like, well, I guess I'll just play hard, I guess.
Yep. Colts and Carolina. At Carolina.
Okay, so Indianapolis is going to score points that Carolina, I feel like, hasn't seen this many points. But also, Gardner Minshew does not win as a starter. So,
What's your pick?
what do you think here?
I'm taking Carolina.
This
This is one of the. Remember when I said look ahead on their
is this
schedule?
one of the catch-up games?
Yeah, this is a catch-up game. Also, I don't know why it's at 3:05 in the afternoon because this is two Eastern time zone teams, in a non-prime time spot playing
For the
in the
people.
afternoon. It's
This
just
one's
very
for the
weird.
people, Luke. This is to have an extra game in the 4:00 window.
Or like the game that no one watches.
Because if they didn't do this, there would only be two. So I'm
Giants
going.
Vegas.
I kind of want to go with Vegas. I think the players are going to be feeling their coach. So,
Yeah, but the
give
Giants
me,
defense has been good. Aiden O'Connell.
give me that.
I mean, I'm not vetoing either way on this game.
Who is playing quarterback? DeVito? Because if it's DeVito, I'm not taking the Giants.
Well, Tyrod Taylor, I think, is severely. I think, if anything, it might be Daniel Jones.
Daniel Jones is back? Let's take a look. Is Daniel Jones back?
And the next game, the next three games are actually really good.
Okay, I'll take the Giants. Jones is back.
Cowboys, Eagles. Big game.
I'm going to go with Philly. Oh, actually, I'm kind of...
Don't overthink this.
We them boys, though?
No.
Or is this a Dak attack game?
This is definitely a Dak attack game.
All right, whatever. I just feel like Philly's been kind of sloppy lately. And Dallas hasn't.
They have the best record in the league.
Buffalo at Cincinnati. Give me Cincy.
Yep. Big time game. This is the DeMar Hamlin revenge game, or what, T. Higgins revenge game, whatever it is. This is the game that didn't get finished last year, and it's on Sunday Night Football this year. So.
Again? Jesus, what if somebody dies again?
These two teams will never play again if that happens.
Yeah, I think they could do that as a rule.
Bring out the cart that has DeMar Hamlin's number retired on it.
That is crazy. When I saw that the other day, I was like, how do you get your number retired on an ambulance? That is crazy. I don't even know if I'd want that. So
I wouldn't. That's what he's going to be known for his whole life, is the guy who died on the field.
I'm going to take the Jets.
Chargers at Jets. That's fine.
I'm doing it. It's disgusting. I was thinking about it. I was like, well, the Chargers should score a bunch of points in this game, but they're not going to, and it's going to be like 17-10 or something like that.
Yep.
So
a lot of good teams on the bye this week. The Jags get a bye. Obviously, the 49ers at the right time get their bye. The Lions go on the bye, and so do the Broncos. So, other than the Niners, I think all three of the other teams were kind of just like, let's keep rolling.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. Oh, my gosh. I don't know why, but I can't wait to watch the Lions play on Thanksgiving. I think it's just because I'm just ready for Thanksgiving, but I'm ready to watch the Lions first.
There's actually good games on Thanksgiving this year.
I'm just excited. So,
all right, guys, thanks for tuning in. Big show this week. We really didn't even preview the Mizzou Georgia game at all.
32-31 Mizzou.
Oh, I think Georgia's going to cover the -15 spread personally. Yeah. I think they're going to win probably, we'll say 31-10.
Damn.
There.
No Bowers.
Coming out game for Georgia. But I would love to see the upset, trust me. This is the biggest game Mizzou's had in a long time. And if they somehow win this game, they will be in first place in the West with a chance to pretty much seal their spot in the SEC championship next week against Tennessee.
Win this game, you control your destiny for the college football playoff.
Yeah, that's true. As crazy as that sounds, also I just said I think Georgia's going to cover, but just like the LSU game, Drink wins this game. I have to turn it around. I have to say I'm in on him. I guarantee I'm in on Drink if he wins this game. Um, man, that's just crazy. They win this 8-1.
Well, then let's ride. Let's.
Yep.
All
All right.
right.
Well, good luck. Great football weekend. A lot of good college football on Saturday. Which now the slate's open. No MLB Game 7, and obviously kind of a good day of football on Sunday too. So make sure you are sitting on your couch all weekend. It's going to be a great weekend for that, and we'll see you next week.